something may have been a subtle change, and you may not have noticed the difference, but it'll probably make a big impact on the local community. A new radio system has been installed in Oakland County, more specifically here in the greater West Bloomfield area, that is improving communication between departments. Now, why that may not mean anything to you immediately, I do have someone joining us that's going to tell us that direct impact. We have West Bloomfield Fire Department Captain Michael Wood joining us to talk about that new P25 radio system. Thank you for joining us, Captain.
You're welcome. Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing just fine myself, sir. So tell us about this new P25 or P25 radio system. It's here to enhance public safety and emergency response capabilities. Can you first tell us, how do you feel like this new radio system is improving public safety?
Yeah, so you were right in addressing it as a P25 system.
Okay.
The old system that we were on, it was called Open Sky, and that was just Oakland County based radio system. With this new system, it now encompasses the state and probably even outside of, if we ever have to utilize that.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. So now we're on board with communicating with other municipalities, departments, if we ever are in need of any other assistance and things of that nature. So you did say this ultimately did replace a previous system, Open Sky. What would you feel like were the challenges with that previous radio system that needed to be improved?
Well, the system actually, I think, expired. They weren't making radio parts anymore. So the county was kind of forced to make a change, and we got on board with the Michigan State Police radio band, radio frequency.
Great information. So overall, it is, as someone who is a communication or used to be a communication major, I'm far removed from college at this point, I know the importance of communicating, right? So while to the public this may or may not seem like something big, it's very, very key, because there could have been issues of blackout spots or areas where you wouldn't get service. I'm not saying that whether or not I know that's the actual problem, but I know when you're dealing with some type of faulty communication system, miscommunication can really deter the progress, especially with our emergency crew and first responders such as yourself. So how do other features in this system like GPS and recording system enhance the communication with the first responders?
Yep. So in today's world, we depend upon mutual aid more and more. So having the ability to talk with those mutual aid companies that are outside of West Bloomfield is very important to us. We do have contingency plans. Even the county has contingency plans in place if the radio system were to go down. So it's the radio itself, nice and bright and yellow, actually has two means of communicating. We can communicate with the towers and then broadcast to the world, or we can just communicate radio to radio in case the towers are not accessible. So with this new system, we do have the GPS capabilities on them. So if an individual were to activate their emergency button and have an emergency, then dispatch can pinpoint their exact location using GPS to get additional resources to them to help alleviate whatever the problem is. We have a lot of radio channels on this little radio as well. We have over 480 available just to the fire department. The police department has a little bit more, and then the county or dispatch center has even more to choose from.
Interesting. Nice bright green radio. Also looks pretty cool. Looks like a toy. I'm gonna be honest with you. I want one of those, Captain. I'm just gonna be honest. I've always wanted a walkie-talkie. It's pretty nice.
Just don't hit the red button.
Don't never hit the red button. I don't care where you are. Don't hit the red button. Join us right now, West Bloomfield Fire Department Captain Michael Wood joining us, talking about these new upgraded radio systems within Oakland County, specifically West Bloomfield, the P25 radio system. So you say they now have the capability of communicating beyond just Oakland County, different counties, different cities, even possibly different states. So with that, let's just say, for an example, we have a national event coming up to the Metro Detroit area, the NFL Draft. Huge event. I would imagine there's a lot of different moving parts. Can you just talk about how radio systems like this actually help with collaboration between departments and counties when it comes to major events like this?
Yep. So these radios are not cheap.
Mm,
We don't like to give out loaners because they're so expensive. So everyone can kind of use their own radio. And with the NFL draft, if they're bringing in mutual aid companies, which I think that is in the plan, that's all part of the emergency operations center that they're working on
mm-hmm.
contingency plans for all that. They can set up very robust communication systems so that there is that so that there isn't that lack of communication.
Right, right. Okay, okay. So, what would you say the role that Oakland County agencies like yours play in ensuring public safety beyond our borders with these new systems? I know, like we said, we just talked about the draft, but any other instances where you may have to step outside of these borders, talk about how this helps with that also.
Yeah. So if the governor declares a state of emergency anywhere, let's say
Mm,
the dam that broke up in the Midland area, a state of emergency was activated for that, and our teams that can offer assistance can now um, organized go up there and offer assistance and be in communication and keep everybody updated and start you know completing tasks that are
right,
required of them.
right, right.
Not only the dam, but tornadoes, severe weathers,
Good point.
any natural disaster, any act of terrorism. We can all get involved and be supportive and solve the problems.
You know what's so crazy? The more you talk and explain that, I'm really starting to understand why we needed these upgraded systems. Now, I didn't know anything about the old system, but now I'm like, we should have been had this. Why? Like this is necessary in case of those emergencies. You don't want to wish that you had that capability during that time. You already want to have that type of thing in place. So thank you for providing that. What are your expectations long term for this new system and how it can improve the relationships between departments?
I think the relationship between the departments is very going very well to begin with. I just think that the radios are going to just ensure that and keep us being able to communicate. And obviously, it's a radio communication. That's key. That's
Right,
the
right.
whole point, right?
No, no, 100%, 100%. So within your specific department, the fire department, how do you feel like this has improved your communication just within your department? Has it fixed any possible issues that you may or may not have experienced?
So there are some dead zones, and we plan for that, and we are knowledgeable of where those are, and we're working with the county to improve those dead zones. But this radio also has the capability of we can get around those dead zones and still communicate with each other, just to keep everybody safe.
Wow.
Um, we have a very close relationship with our neighboring communities,
Mm-hmm.
and they are also on the same radio system. So that's very nice. We've had a couple larger scale fires where we've had to call in mutual aid, and they've just blended right in with our incident command system. It was refreshing.
Nice, nice. I don't want to sit here and pick your brain all day about walkie-talkies and radio systems, Captain, but I definitely do appreciate your time. Any other additional information that you want to get out, any messages for the West Bloomfield community that you want to share while we have you?
No, I don't think so. You actually had some very good questions, and you covered a lot of ground.
Thank you, man. Make me feel like I'm doing my job. I'll let Dave know that. Thank you again. Once again, West Bloomfield Fire Department Captain Michael Wood joining us on the Splash Live talking about the new P25 radio systems here in West Bloomfield. Thank you again, sir.
Thank you, Kevin.